Okay, you may start.
Well, let's just wait for you, Vina. Okay, hello guys. I welcome you all to this leadership course. Well, myself, Lakshya Sumira, I'm going to be your tutor, and here's Noah, if he wants to introduce himself.
Hi, I will also be your tutor. My name's Terence. Uh, and I think that's it from my part. Je suis coordinator aussi.
Well, thank you. So this leadership course is going to last about 13 weeks. It is a 13 weeks course, and it may extend, but well, after attending the session, certificates may be issued to you, like um, to prove that you attended this session. And also, I would like you to take notes about what we're talking about, what we're teaching to you, if you don't mind. I mean, it would be good for all of us. So, without any further ado, I would like, first of all, like, can you just unmute and turn on your camera? I want to see you, and then I want you to introduce yourselves, please. You're muted, Adi. Are they trying to talk? Already, if you're trying to talk, you're muted, right?
Non, ouais, c'est vrai.
Okay, for those who can't unmute, it's okay. Mais genre, on va devoir. You have to turn on your camera so that we know you're participating with us.
Yes. So, okay, let's proceed. What did I say? My, okay, I don't know. Okay, it is fine. So let's proceed with the types of bosses. We have two types of bosses actually in leadership. It is there are managers and then leaders. It means that you can either be a manager or a leader. And according to some documents, it has been stated that a manager has to be able to have the ability to lead as well as manage. I hope you're getting me. Can you can you just unmute and talk? I mean, I don't, excuse moi.
Oui, mais toi.
Yeah, on peut
Okay, cool.
t'entendre.
I don't. Okay. Well, I was talking about managers and leaders. So, as I said earlier, the managers need to have the ability to lead. So it kind of overlap managers and leaders. So managers need to be able to have subordinates working under them to be able to develop leadership skills and management skills to ensure that an organization or maybe people are able to achieve certain goals. Is that
Okay.
right?
Yes, somehow. So, guys, could you please tell me how would you define leadership? Someone, please.
Rudy, we can start with you.
OK. Ben, selon moi, leadership, c'est la capacité d'entraîner les gens avec nous pour faire quelque chose, faire un changement. Et un leader, il a des qualités de la compréhension, comprendre les autres, de la compassion. Et aussi, il a un management skill. Par exemple, un manager, il a un leader, il a un lead, mais un leader aussi, il a un management skill euh, pour les cas faire ce même travail, tout ça. Mais en gros, c'est ça.
Okay. Uh, Anyone else? Very good definition, by the way. Anyone else?
They're not going to unmute. They say they can't unmute.
Urvesh and Ashvat, if you're unable to unmute, you can reply in the chat if you want. It would be nice to have some interaction.
Okay, so Ray said, can someone, Rishad, would you
Yes.
please read it for us?
So leadership can be defined as someone having the ability to lead others in different situations.
Okay, good. While Ajwet, will you answer or should I move on? I think I'll move on and consider your answer later. While your answers are very good, John Maxwell sums leadership up with the definition of leadership, rather, with three words. Leadership is influence. And we are now going to move to an overview, to dive in an overview of leadership evolution. It is good to go justement dans l'histoire pour pouvoir comprendre l'évolution et justement the growth of leadership. Donc déjà, c'est leadership is something that is the most researched areas parce que on voit que there's this need to integrate and synthesize them in order to a better view of main issues. Donc justement, leadership permet à ce que nous puissions achieve un goal. Je ne sais pas si je m'exprime bien. Achieve a goal justement. Et leadership helps in the helps in approaches to different sections. Lakshya, will you take over?
Can you just say it again? I'm having difficulties hearing you.
Okay,
The overview.
I'll just summarize this part. So to add on whatever Terence has just said about leadership, as he said, it's indeed true. John Maxwell in 1993, he summed up best, he came up with the best definition of leadership in three words: leadership is influence. It's nothing more, nothing less. You can't hear me well? Just give me a moment.
Make after top, yeah.
Is that okay?
No, pas fait trop.
Moi,
Really?
je
Can you-
t'entends.
So it's-
Vous pouvez top, yeah, moi.
No, it's better. Now it's better.
Okay. So yeah, so just to add on what Terence said, indeed, John Maxwell in 1993 came up with the best definition of leadership in three words, and that is leadership is influence. It's nothing more, guys, and nothing less. Leadership is that art of getting followers and the ability to really influence them towards a goal, whatever Rudy has told us in the very beginning. So there is, I would say, a variable. Okay, there are variables that we have analyzed throughout the years that affect leadership. Whenever there is a discussion on leadership, we talk about one important variable that is omnipresent usually, and that variable is change. Change defines leadership in many situations, which is why John Maxwell's definition is as well correct, because you need to influence people to make them bring change in the world. Maxwell declares that the ultimate test of a leader is to create positive change. It's very important for you to understand that. If leaders resist change, they are no longer leading. So therefore, a true leader would be somebody who can differentiate between novel change and needed change. That is, I need to identify as a true leader whether this change is needed or it's just, it's not needed, but it can be used. It can be changed. Okay, so there are two types of changes. novel change and needed change, a real leader is someone who should be able to act on needed change. He needs to have that ability. He needs to become a change agent. Okay, I will change things. Okay, and you need to remember that Barack Obama said a very beautiful thing on change. I always like to quote this. Change, he said, will not come if you wait for some other people or some other time. You are the ones you've been waiting for. You are the change that you seek. So that is leadership, guys. John Maxwell said, leadership is influence. And Barack Obama spoke about change. So leadership is about using your influence to bring positive change in society. If you're not bringing change, you're not leading correctly. We'll now move to an overview of what leadership is about. It's important, guys, to dive a little bit in the history of leadership, simply because you need to understand why is a theory here? Why is still relevant? Can we use that theory nowadays? The COVID-19 pandemic nearly threw all the theories of leadership into water. Nearly everything failed in management and leadership when the COVID-19 pandemic came up. So this is why we are trying to today, we're trying to really go into the history, try to dig up a little bit. Why have these leadership models failed? And why do they exist as a matter of fact? Okay, so Lakshayu will take over for this part. Thank you.
Não vai trop toi, tu son cassé, tu
Is anybody having any issues? You're not hearing me properly?
Bon, t'entends bien, t'entends bien, moi.
Les assez fluent, mais genre, il y a beaucoup de
Okay, maybe it's my earphone or something. So Lakshayu, you will speak about the leadership evolution, the history of leadership.
Okay. Well, that is in the earliest theory proposed in early days, when a more scientific way of study is first conducted on the issue of leadership, it is believed that leaders were born with a certain leadership traits and natural abilities that made them to be able to influence and exert powers over their followers. And due to this theory, the early scholars spent a considerable amount of time and effort to focus on discovering the traits that make an individual to be a leader. With much interest poured into research to develop the leader's traits, a new theory is developed, which is known as the trait approach theory. In this theory, it is proposed that there are individuals that are born with traits that will make them a natural leader. Traits are defined as distinguished personal characteristics such as intelligence, values, self-confidence, and appearance. And successful leaders possess some or all of these traits. Well, we have a trait approach, like the personal characteristics of leaders. First, it should be physical, like a leader should be more or less energetic. He should be able to carry out activities in an effective way, like spreading good energy to people. About his personality, he should be original. He should be alerted about everything about his surrounding, sorry, and yeah, he should be confident. Like there are some leaders who are confident, but there are some who are overconfident. But we should be like maintain that self-confidence in ourselves, not leaders. Also, we should have a leader. The characteristics of a leader should be social, about social characteristics. That is, they should be able to cooperate with others without hindrance. They should be able to manage how popular they are and do not exceed the power of being of popularity and also about prestige. Moreover, they should be intelligent and should be able to do things efficiently. Like I said, a leader is is someone who is intelligent, because no one becomes a leader like who's not intelligent. So he should be able to make judgments well, not like being too judgmental, because in our today's society, people tend to be judgmental about your traits, about just by looking at you, people judge you. But a leader should judge you like differently, not like normal people's. And they should be like take decision based, like good decision makers, not taking decision in a fluid way. And the knowledge should be vast. Also, to be able to lead, you should be able to communicate. So they should have a fluency of speech. And as Arshad stated earlier, to communicate, you need to be able to influence. I mean, it's a two-way thing. Like you need to be able to communicate, to influence, to communicate, something like that. And also, there should be a work-related characteristic. Like you should be responsible. You should be able to pursue your goal. I mean, a shared goal amongst a group, and you should be task oriented. Like you should be able to know how to delegate works to your followers, to everyone who's following you, and do it effectively. So I think that's all about this. No, I would like to add up something too. Well, about leaders, like we recently got the case of COVID, I mean the pandemic of COVID. We know that leaders usually say that, yeah, during a pandemic, during a situation, we're able to act differently, we're able to act like this. But during this pandemic, we have noticed we have been able to pinpoint some true leaders and some fake leaders. One of those who are able to act efficiently and quickly in order to prevent the propagation of these other virus, and to be able to help their followers. And yeah, but there were also other leaders who were not able to manage things, the situation. I think that's all from my part about the overview. I mean, about the evolution. I'd like to yield the floor to Terence.
Okay, sorry. So I would like to go over the styles of leadership. So c'est bon à comprendre que in this era we're living in, there are three most noteworthy leadership styles. Firstly, we have transactional, transformation, and servant leadership. Donc, déjà, transformation leadership is a leadership that comes from influence. It creates thus a positive impact and have characteristics like charisma, inspiration, intellectual stimulation. Those characteristics helps justement transformation leadership à juste comment dire to uh, to stand out, if I may. We will move over to transaction leadership. So transactional leadership rather usually include both transactional and information transformation leadership. So basically, it is important to note that there are significant differences between these two leadership styles. One of them being that transactional leadership is defined as an exchange process between the leader and the follower, whereas the transformational leadership is clearly reaching out through charisma, influence, and creating this positive impact rather than this exchange. Transactional leaders identify the needs and wants of their followers and clarifies how to satisfy these needs and wants. So transformational leadership has a higher degree of influence and increasing employees' engagement with organizational citizenship behavior compared to transactional leadership. Some of the findings also show that transformational leadership have a higher degree of positive influence and outcomes compared to transactional leadership. One of the explanations to this is that transactional leadership creates a temporary relationship as it is shallow and a short-term exchange for gratification only. C'est aussi important de comprendre que in this tough business environment where success depends on continuous change, for the betterment of an organization, transformation leadership styles will help transactional leaders to not only maintain the stability of the organization, but also promote positive change. The third style would be servant leadership. So servant leadership is considered quite a new concept among leadership styles. Servant leadership serves his and her serves their followers rather into achieving their goals and not the leader's personal goals and achievements. Robert Greenleaf servant leadership model Precepts has four basic precepts. One, put service before self-interest. Second, listen first to affirm others. Third, inspire trust by being trustworthy. And third, nourish others and help them become whole. Donc là, the servant leadership is different in a sense where the leaders are committed to their followers. There are similarities between servant leadership and transformational leadership, as both of these leadership styles focus on the welfare of the followers, but there is one significant difference. Compared to transformational leadership, servant leadership does not receive as much interest as the former. That is, servant leadership where they go to their followers to satisfy their needs and wants. They don't do it for their own gratification. It helps the whole organization. C'est aussi bien comprendre que les variations justement de ces three types of leadership, where I will go through it again, where transformational leadership goes by influence, transactional leadership goes by this sharing and communication and this exchange rather, and servant leadership is where the leaders are committed to their followers so that they reach this common goal. That will be all from my part for now.
Okay, thank you.
Petite question.
Yes, yes, sure.
Est-ce que ban motivational speakers considéré comme un leader?
Leadership is influence, as discussed by Maxwell. So anybody who influences you and brings you on a path and motivates you to bring change will be considered a leader.
Ok. Alors, un motivational speaker, c'est un leader. Ben,
Yes.
maintenant, ban motivational speakers, je aide du monde pour achieve un goal, non pas pour achieve ce goal personnel. Mais alors, ils considèrent comme un servant leadership.
Yes, you're right.
Oui, clairement. C'est un bon exemple de servant leadership parce que justement, c'est to help others reach their goal.
I think this is the success of organizations of contemporary society. This is the concept of our success. We put the goals of others in front of our own goals so that, you know, everyone feels involved.
Yes. This is why it is one of the most common, I would say, type of leadership nowadays.
Yeah. And this is why it just came, because, you know, kind of these inspirational talks, etc. It just started recently. So I would spend a minute, I would say, on transformation leadership, what Terence said. Transformation leadership, it has four major characteristics. Okay. First of all, it's charisma. So according to this particular theory, charisma is an important characteristic of a leader. A leader should be charismatic. So what does that mean? What does charisma mean? I should be having a standing. I should be confident of what I'm talking about. I cannot come and rattle in front of an audience. Like I'm struggling to really know my own concept. Okay? I come in front of an audience unprepared. I don't know what to talk about. I'm talking about stuffs that aren't really linked to each other. Bits and pieces from here and there. So this does not form part of a good charisma of a person. So a real leader should be charismatic. Like, comme on dit tout le temps en créole, on dit, il y a une beau parleur. En français, plutôt, on dit, il y a une beau parleur. Okay? Comme que les clients être inspirés par ce langage, la façon dont les raffiner, la façon dont les causer, les expressent lui-même, les causer avec un tone, les positionne quand les causer, these stuffs. Second comes inspiration. Okay, so what is inspiration? L'inspiration vient de la communication. Alors, je te donne expectation que je te donne du monde causer. OK? Alors, ça dit monde là, mais c'est la vie, ban certaines astuces, ban certains symboles pour les capables attirer l'attention. Alors, simplement, comment on le fait? C'est peut-être qu'il commence cause doucement, je peux aller d'une façon monotone. Moi, arrive un point intéressant, moi, je me l'envoie. Alors, si tu expliques le sommeil, tu sommeil casse un coup. OK? Alors, moi, arrive-toi, même si tu n'as pas un récit grosse, 100% de ce qui s'est passé dans sa session qui s'est inspirational leader la fin de faire, et là, même bits and pieces que tu as réussi à attirer l'attention avec une tactique qui est inserée. So, this is inspiration, a characteristic of a transformation leader. Next comes intellectual stimulation. Intellectual stimulation would refer to rationality, intelligence, and problem solving. Alors, qu'est-ce que ça veut dire? Moi, vous êtes rationnel. Moi, pas qu'à raconter une histoire que éventuellement me tirer une conclusion qui n'est pas logique du tout. Moi, pas qu'à non plus venir devant une audience, mais me faire l'audience là feel inferior. Qu'elle lui donne une réponse pour dire, no, you're completely wrong. You're misleading. No, there should be some credit, okay, in whatever your audience is contributing in your delivery. Equally, the ability to solve problems. So, a leader having this intellectual stimulation for transformation leadership, rather to work, il est capable de solve problems. Il est capable de répondre à une question, à un problème, à une situation qui sur l'audience peut venir devant nous. Nous prenons l'exemple d'un recteur dans une école. Il a sa capacité d'intellectual stimulation. C'est-à-dire qu'il est capable de solve un problème qui vient devant lui et il est capable également d'inspirer le démon pour solve un problème. C'est une stimulation. Il est contagieuse. La façon dont il peut solve un problème, c'est contagieuse. Quand il solve un problème, tu trouves ça intéressant la façon dont il solve ce problème-là, mais il directeur par des affaires qui te trouve intéressant, qui te parle faire recherche dessus. Le me stimuler toi-même. Et finalement, quatrième caractéristique de ce type de leadership-là, c'est individualized consideration. C'est-à-dire, me donne considération à chacun des personnes qui font partie de mon audience. Par exemple, je peux causer, je peux arrêter un petit moment, je peux demander l'opinion d'un dimon. Rudy, je peux demander qui te pense de telles affaires. Je peux causer un petit peu avec Ulrich, je peux causer un petit peu avec Ashvet, un peu avec Rajvi, un peu avec Terence, un peu avec Lakshayou, et non plus I keep to myself. So this is another key feature of transformation leadership. Bon, transformation leadership, vous avez fait recherche dessus depuis plus de 30 ans. Ce que t'imagines, ça quatre caractéristiques qui m'ont dit là, c'est daté de 1990 écrit par Bass. Mais, les styles relevant dans la société contemporaine. Ces quatre caractéristiques-là, les bonnes caractéristiques qui vraiment, quand nous guettons, nous disons, ben oui, un leader besoin d'un leader. Un leader qui peut transformer du monde, besoin de ces quatre caractéristiques-là. Peut-être c'est pas que ça, et donc on va les mais les styles relevant. Alors, quand nous essayons de comprendre les types of leadership et les caractéristiques qui les leader est là, nous réalisons que dans nous apporte un changement. Et c'est ça, un changement-là, qui peut faire nous venir the real leader, the correct leader in society. Okay? So, I think I have passed on a lot of stuffs. I do not, of course, yes.
Tu as envie de ajouter quelque chose? Cause-toi
Bien
en
sûr.
faisant.
Non, bien sûr, ajoute.
Allez. C'est long, on va dire. Ben, t'as une cause de charisme. C'est-à-dire que la personne, il peut causer, il peut faire un impact là, sur l'interlocuteur et l'interlocuteur, il peut gagner un pressenti comme si la personne, il a un charisme, il a un aura autour de lui. Mais est-ce que tu pensais, naturel charisme, il existait? Par exemple, quand on rentre dans la salle, il y a un aura autour de nous qui fait les autres sentir qu'il y a quelqu'un qui est entré et comme si ça dit, il y a un charisme naturel. Est-ce que tu pensais ça, il existait?
Définitivement. Un exemple,
Et,
c'est Hitler.
ouais.
Un
Et
exemple,
même
c'est
frayeur
Hitler.
quand il rentre.
Quand il vient, cette personnalité déjà imposing. Alors, natural charisma plays a role. Your hairstyle, your grooming way, your way of dressing yourself. Quand on trouve un dimanche venir, il met un costume, et quand on trouve un dimanche, il vient mettre un t-shirt. Il dit que ça, c'est pas pareil.
Ouais, costumer, respect, un signe de respect envers la personne.
Et il montre toi une compétence. Quand tu as un dimanche avec un costume, puis débuter devant l'assemblée, puis causer, il montre toi qu'il dit, mais c'est une compétence. Il vient avec un bagage. C'est toujours préparé avec une PowerPoint presentation, tu trouves, dis-moi, il y a une auteur, ça contribue à ce charisme.
Et là, ce qui te dirait, il vient aussi de la rhétorique, la manière de s'en servir de langage et manière utiliseuse pour communiquer des choses. Par exemple, la rhétorique. Moi, je suis dans la politique française activement. La rhétorique française, on remarque qui tient à Jean-Luc Mélenchon, le leader d'un parti. Et chaque année, ils s'échangent ce manière d'habiller. Mais ils rapprochent plus de la population. Par exemple, au commencement, l'éthiquement, tout va un politicien. Il a une chemise, cravate, tout comme ça, comme si de la haute société. Et plus tard, ils essaient de rapprocher en ils servent une veste en cuir. Maintenant, quand ils mettent une veste en cuir, ils considèrent aussi comme de la bourgeoisie française. Mais plus tard, ils mettent un bleu de travail. Un bleu de travail, c'est ils ont un costume avec un jacket. Et surtout, ça, tu peux servir dans l'usine, tout ça, là, employé, tu peux mettre ça. Maintenant, ça, il me permet pour rapprocher de l'audience, pour rapprocher de la population, rapprocher des gens qui sont en bas de l'échelle. Et ça, il crée l'impact, le rabbin Dimouna, comme si il dit que ça, Dimouna, il n'est pas juste appartenir à l'élite, il appartenir aussi à une personne normale et aussi de la classe moyenne. Mais ça aussi, il a la rhétorique, le vêtement. On prend l'exemple Emmanuel Macron aussi. Quand il était ministre de l'économie sous François Hollande, il se mettait une montre suisse. Une montre, c'est qu'il a une grande valeur, c'est qu'il a assez de personnes de la classe moyenne pas capable d'afforder. Mais plus tard, dès qu'il devient le président, il commence à mettre une montre à la française. Une montre très beau aussi, c'est qui pas coûte trop cher. Et ça aussi, il y a un signe de rhétorique qui rapproche lui avec les gens. Mais aussi, côté de la rhétorique aussi, causer aussi, il y a plusieurs techniques. Il y a le crescendo. Par exemple, il y a François Hollande, quand il causait, il y a un crescendo. Il dit, ce ton, il ne marie pas. C'est vraiment arrivé un moment, durant un meeting politique, les gens s'écoutent et aussi, ils placent ce silence. Beaucoup de politiciens de faire, ils placent ce silence et ça, ils interpellent les gens. Si quand nous plaçons un silence qui ne pas cause d'une manière continue, nous continuons à interpeller. Nous pouvons rappeler ce qu'il nous dit. Et aussi dans le procédé de la voix, moi je dirais Terence une fois. Quand matin, il y a un petit chant de chanter dans l'école, dans le petit causé matin, ils sont de santé. Dans le procédé de la voix, procédé de la voix, c'est moi, quand je me lève une causée, il n'y a pas un ton flat, non, Nous sentir quelque chose. Et une montée, et une redescente, et ça, les contrôler bien. Et aussi donne de l'emphase sur des choses qui ont eu entendre. Aussi donne dire le transformation leadership. Un exemple, c'est qui me parle de toi là, c'est côté de la philosophie aussi, il est impliqué de la philosophie aussi, il y a Socrate. L'époque grecque, tout ça là, Socrate, un philosophe que tout le monde assez populaire, il tenait une manière de contrôler d'une manière de gérer les problèmes quand il pose une question. Par exemple, Albert Einstein, si mon quotidien s'il y a un temps pour répondre à une question, il peut servir 90% là-dedans pour comprendre la question et les autres 10% là pour essayer de répondre à la question. Mais Socrate aussi, tu feras pour comprendre un problème. Maintenant, quand il fait ça, comment il devient transformation leader? C'est qu'il réussit à faire les autres apprendre de la même façon. Par exemple, dire un recteur, c'est l'exemple. Ils vont aller pour trouver une solution et aussi pour permettre les autres aussi de trouver la solution à les autres problèmes, ce qui quand même arriver. Et Socrate, il apprend ce type de réfléchir là, comment réfléchir à un problème à son élève, qui est un élève qui s'appelle Platon et qui juste après, Platon est un grand philosophe aussi, pareil comment se mettre. Et Lola, on peut dire qu'il est un transformation leader. Il questionne la réalité et il questionne un problème au lieu d'essayer de les résoudre. Mais plutôt les résoudre, bien sûr. C'est tout, moi, tu n'as à dire.
Merci beaucoup. It's indeed, there is a lot of truth in what you said. Très, très détaillé, avec beaucoup d'exemples. Tu m'entends clairement ou it's glitching or something? C'est bon. Oui.
Tu t'entends bien.
Okay. Il est néanmoins très important, Libonton come up with this opinion today. Ce que j'avais à dire dessus, c'est que ce qu'on va apprendre au cours de nos 13 semaines vont être plus basés sur management leadership rather than political leadership. OK? Alors, on va, whilst there is a lot of contribution of politics inside leadership, we will try to keep leadership as clean as possible because, you know, politics are dirty. So we are going to keep leadership as clean as possible so that you can learn, you can get the different materials needed, skills needed to really be at the head of an organization, of any type of society, and to change your life, your way of thinking. This is our aim at the end of this session. Today, we have talked a lot, we've extensively focused on theories of leadership. That's a one-off session. We are no longer going to talk about theories of leadership in the next course, in the next forthcoming weeks, forthcoming sessions. Next week, we are going to talk about something different. Next week, we are going to talk about success through failure. How do you succeed in life? And do you really fail in life? These are the two questions we are going to answer next week. And this would be in the light of a marvelous book written by John Maxwell. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. We'll be giving you basically an overview, a summary, a description, an explanation of that book and the different concepts that have been explored through that book. You know, in the 21st century, il y a tellement de choses, on a accès à tellement de ressources qu'on ne sait plus quoi faire, on ne sait plus quoi lire, on ne sait pas, am I going to read this today or that? How much time am I going to devote in this? So we try to select the best possible leadership materials that have been written by leaders across the globe. And we try to deliver that particular, we will try to deliver that particular message of theirs to you. This is what we're trying to do. The whole course, qui va durer pendant environ 13 semaines, if I give you an estimation of the cost behind that course, it will be around some 20 to 30,000 rupees. Les materials, les ressources qu'on va devoir se procurer pour faire le cours. Okay, because one book of John Maxwell costs a lot. One book of Robin Sharma, which we are going to also look at in the forthcoming weeks, costs really a lot. Okay? Robin Sharma, je crois que c'est 400 et quelques. Avec la COVID, peut-être que c'est 500 et quelques. Un livre de Maxwell est plus cher que cela. On est en train de parler 13 semaines, 13 différents livres, des manuels, des guides, des bibles qu'on va s'en servir pour vous expliquer et d'essayer de changer la façon dont on fait les choses. Alors, make the most out of it. We are going to send you the scheme, our plan for these weeks. You can research, you can read, so that, eventually it doesn't become a one-way thing. Whilst there is some credit in a one-way delivery, it's not the perfect way. Okay? Ça doit être donnant-donnant. On a fait servant leadership. I should be putting your objectives over and above our objectives. So you need to be able to learn what you want to learn at the end of this session. Really discover your passion and really know how to handle stuffs in the future. Do you have any questions, or do you have any suggestions, or anything that you think you may want to talk about that will improve, or things you want to learn, or what you want to question us, you want to ask us questions, you haven't understood a part, you want us to send you materials. For example, this week, we've used a journal on leadership to do this course. If you want us to send you the journal, we can do that. So ask whatever things you want to ask. Feel free.
Rien à ajouter, moi.
Ulvesh, tu as quelque chose à ajouter?
Anyone else?
Yes, Bajan, you raised hand. Okay,
Non, pas rien, Abdallah.
okay, it's fine. So Ulvesh, Ashvat, Kabir, anything you want to add, guys? You can type in the chat if you want to add something. It's fine. It's totally acceptable to me. Okay, transformational leadership. Yeah, we are giving it to you free of charge, but it costs us a lot. It's servant leadership, providing service to others. Transformational leadership. Yes, transformation leadership. Urvesh, what do you want to say about transformation leadership? You can unmute and talk. No one will eat you alive. My mouth doesn't stretch that far to be able to gobble you alive. And I can't, like make my screen become a portal and go through it. Okay, you didn't understand transformation leadership. Okay. Bon, transformation leadership, un type de leadership qui est capable d'amener un changement dans vision, stratégie et culture et organisation. Alors, comment nous faire ça? C'est en essayant d'influencer les autres. Alors, par exemple, moi, Ndimun qui apprend, par exemple, management, moi, un diplômé dans HR. Alors, moi, viens d'une organisation, me trouver que la façon dont nous pouvons faire recrutement n'est pas bon. Alors, moi, pas simplement aller dire qu'il n'est pas bon, mais non. me vin avec une stratégie. Okay, guys, so we will try to change the way. Let's spice things up a little bit. Okay? Instead of having one person doing interviews, let's make it to two. Let's prepare a set of questions. I give you ideas, ok? Je vous donne par exemple l'exemple, je sais pas, hein, je suis en train de prendre un exemple. Je te dis que peut-être Steve Jobs a fait ça de ce compagnie. Peut-être que Mark Zuckerberg, il servi sa stratégie-là pour lui faire Facebook arrive à ce niveau-là. Alors moi, ici, influence les autres pour suivre ce qui m'a dit à faire. This is the essence of what transformation leadership is about. Me il y a 4 caractéristiques principales d'un transformation leader. Le premier, c'est charisme. Alors, la façon dont il peut deliver stuff, ce charisme. Deuxième, c'est l'inspiration, la façon dont il peut inspire others. Troisième, la stimulation intellectuelle, la façon dont il peut make everyone feel valued, ok, et qu'il peut montrer tout comment nous pouvons solve un problème. Et dernièrement, la considération individuelle, les rejoindre la stimulation intellectuelle, c'est-à-dire prendre tout le monde opinion on board. Alors, Transformation Leadership rejoint quelque part l'idée d'un démocratique leader et l'idée d'un laisser-faire leader. Il rentre un petit peu dans les deux. Quand nous disons un démocratique leader, me prend tout le monde se vote en considération, ou laisser faire, me guide-toi et me laisse-toi faire ce que tu as envie de faire. Me influence-toi et me laisse-toi faire. Me pas faire moi. OK? Alors, ça c'est basically transformation leadership. Je crois en mes propres mots, c'est un tout petit peu plus clair peut-être. C'est bon, Ulrich?
Eh bien, achat autocratique de qui tombe. Il n'est pas tombé dans les effets ni transformation.
Autocratic leadership, bon, tu connais, autocratic leadership, il ne pas trop se place dans sa trois théories qui nous faisaient. Mais une cause, comment on dit ça, trois nouvelles théories de leadership. OK? Un truc qui est en vogue dans la société mauricienne, dans la société contemporaine. Leadership, laisser-faire et démocratique, autocratique et laisser-faire leadership sont des styles qui finissent tout le temps exister. Depuis nous cause leadership, nous cause ça trois-là. Nous amène à une différente approche de professional leadership. Parce que ça trois-là, les plus politisés. Alors, comme maman disait, nous parlons plus organisation, focused. Alors, le film, il n'est pas nécessairement qui ça pour lier. Comme travail, comme activité plutôt, moi, je suis content si je suis capable de lire un petit peu sur success and leadership. Mais surtout, Bertrand, you will use this book in the forthcoming weeks for your National Leadership Engine training. I'm going to take some material from this book. I'm going to give you an exercise. So it's on the page 39. I'm going to send a copy on the group chat. There are different leadership styles, okay? We've given you theories of leadership. Now we're going to talk about 6 leadership styles developed by Daniel Goleman, okay? Mais pas pour cause dessus, mais pour les autres, la tâche d'aller lire un tout petit peu dessus. OK? Ces 6 types de leadership styles. Et il y a ainsi matching à faire. Simplement, on est besoin à le Google. OK? Vous avez un petit coup. Pace setting leadership, c'est quoi? Vous avez qui behavior correspond à sa leadership là. Et que me faire un petit matching. Aussi simple que ça.
Ancien des voix là. Hein.
Oui, dès qu'on a fait un petit niveau. Mon envie qui... Pardon?
Il est déjà le groupe.
Oui, il est déjà le groupe. Mais ça veut dire comment ça? Il y a pas de nouveau qui joindre, que ça me pourrait envoyer. Je vous trouvais que cette session a été une récapitulation d'une certaine façon de ce qu'on a déjà fait. C'est parce que, comme je vous ai dit, on a des nouveaux et on doit recommencer à zéro un tout petit peu, dans une certaine façon, les activités qu'on a déjà faites. So next week, we are going to talk about success. It's going to be an inspirational session rather than a formal leadership analyzing session. I hope you will like it, you will enjoy it. I'm going to stop the recording here. Thank you.